the replay going too, so that's gonna be double GG. I don't know if it's just me, but the last like 2 or 3 weeks I've been like hearing nothing but people bitch about Elf, and it's not as imbalanced as everyone makes it out to be, if at all imbalanced. If sure they have a little bit of an edge, a little tiny bit of an edge over almost every race in a sense, but everyone seems to bitch at them like there's no tomorrow. Like, you absolutely can't beat them, and that's fucking stupid. You can beat Elf so easy if you actually try and you don't do dumb shit. And just the people out there, they're like, especially the mass dots. I don't see how the hell you guys have such a problem with mass dots, the orcs. There's so much shit that the orc can do to counter that mass dot. You guys have to use stupid ass strategies where it'll catch the elf offhand. You know, if you be a dumbass like all the other orcs and you go grunts and raiders and spirit walkers or whatever, sure, you're gonna get dealt with. That's fucking stupid. You don't do that shit. You just go something to completely throw them off. There's been a couple orcs that have done that to me on ladder, and there goes a lot of props to them for actually like thinking outside of the fucking box, and you know, where they actually use their goddamn head and they don't just bitch and cry over the fucking forums. You know, the time it takes you to bitch and cry over the forums, you could go and practice on ladder new strategies and whatever. But instead, people who play orc continue to bitch. But actually, I'll go over one of those strategies with you that is really damn hard to beat, and it seems like it isn't, but it is, once I go and find this damn replay. Because this one is actually of my friend I'm doing on a replay on. Right here. Yeah, this is good. He usually plays human, but he's playing elf. This is a pretty funny strat. I decided to go over it. He was playing in a XE tournament. I got eliminated by Terry Specs, so I watched his game. And this is a second game. He already won against XE Cookies 1-0. So this is the second game. I guess he says human have no chance on this map or something like that against orc. So he went elf. So we're gonna get this paused at the 2-minute mark. Yeah, the 2-minute mark. That's good. And while we're doing that, I'll tell you some of the ways that orc beat me, where it's absolutely it's fucking ridiculous on how they beat the mass dots, and it gets so damn annoying. First of all, one thing that's completely just out there is going dual racks, first of all. Then going up, you still go grunts and everything with a Farseer. Then you go straight up to tier 3, and you get mass headhunters with catapults. By the way, I'm at 2 minutes and 6 seconds, so deal with it. Go to 2 minutes and 6 seconds and pause. Yeah, alright. So you go straight up to tier 3, you get mass headhunters and catapults. Now, sure, that seems like the mass dots can counter that by getting some chimeras, and then the mass dots cyclone up the headhunters, and then the chimeras go right after the catapults. But it's not that simple, because by the time you have half of the headhunters cycloned, all of your dots are dead from the headhunter focus fire, the chain lightning, and the shockwave. Usually, I've seen it work better with the shadow hunter second for the hex against the chimeras, hex and wards. Just the chain lightning and the wards alone will rape the dots, and the chimeras in a sense, but more so the hex will own up the chimeras, because then they'll be useless, and that's like 5 food, and that's like 330 gold just gone, just, you know, flying around doing nothing. And it's so damn hard to beat. The catapults with the burning oil at tier 3 have completely just smashed up the dots and everything, and the chimeras are getting hexed. And if you notice that the headhunters got cycloned before, you know, the dots died or whatever, and the chimeras are coming after you at an overwhelming force against your catapults, just TP out, repeat the process. You know, they don't have as much mana as they rely on mana more than you do. You know, you can just get clarity potions for your heroes or whatever, and they can't for their dots. They have moonwells, but you know, if all those moonwells are sucked up and they have no moon juice, then they're going to be screwed. It's basically like fighting outside of their base, like in the open or whatever. You know, sure, they have Ancients of War and Ancients of Winds or whatever whacking away, but that's really nothing if you have mass headhunters and mass catapults, because it's going to be ranged. So if you're smart, you're not going to go near those. So anyways, then you just repeat the process. Some ways I've tried to beat this with is well, I'm looking at the Blade Master and his sword's like all like on the ground. It doesn't look like he's like holding a sword at all. If you guys have it paused at 2 minutes and 6 seconds, you'll see that. Anyway, some ways I've tried to beat it. First of all, the first way I tried to beat it was with mass dots. I tried to cyclone up the headhunters while going for the catapults with my chimeras. It doesn't work. The chimeras get hexed. The burning oil completely just smashes all the dots within seconds. When the headhunters are on the ground, they completely own up the dots because they have piercing damage against unarmored. Then there's the siege damage against unarmored. Then the chain lightning. Heal scrolls don't really work that well against that because mass catapults and mass headhunters are all focus fire. And then the chain lightning is just the AoE to make the focus fire that much better on each unit and that much faster, you know, so the unit doesn't last that much longer, as long, or whatever, you know, so it doesn't really help out too much. Another thing I tried was going for dual AOW, mass archers, and just push on their base. If they have a good building placement, that's so damn hard to beat. It's pretty much impossible to beat it that way with 2 AOWs, because they just put their demolishers in the back and just focus whatever, and you can't get to them because there's burrows in front of them, barracks and all the heavy buildings in front, you know. Archers aren't going to take out buildings that fast, you know, so you can't have your archers sitting there all day taking the catapults damage on them while they're just hitting some barracks that are going to be repaired anyways. Can't really get into their base with the archers focusing down the burrows or whatever. So it's completely, I don't know, that is completely hard. Another way is bears, but that's really risky because if they go ahead and get a bestiary second, or bestiary third, I'm sorry, and they could just get Kodos and eat up your bears, and that's 255 gold down the drain right there. So, you know, and then of course you need a bunch of bears to go against mass ranged. So if they have a couple Kodos eating up a couple bears, that's a lot out of your army already. And then those Kodos war drums benefit the catapults and headhunters. So that basically gets you really screwed over. And one more way I've gotten beat, it seemed like he was going cookie cutter stuff, but instead it wasn't really. What he did was he went the grunts and then to the raiders or whatever, like every orc does. But then he just started massing the hell out of raiders. He got TC second for the endurance aura to make him that much faster. He just started massing the hell out of raiders. Farseer and Blade Master and Torn Chieftain and raiders. And you know, he wouldn't block the Blade Master around into my base to see when I was out of my base with my mass dots. And when I wasn't in my base, he'd run in his raiders, just massively focus whatever he could. When I TP in, he'd speed scroll out. That was 350 gold I wasted, 50 gold he wasted. You know, kind of what I was doing to XE Bro. I wouldn't speed scroll out though. You know, I'd use my staff of preservation. If I ended up cycloning a couple raiders, more than 350 gold worth of raiders, you know, he would TP out. If I just cycloned one, it was like whatever. I'd wait for it or whatever to go down, and then his Blade Master would focus whatever weak units while I was focusing that raider. So then we'd kind of trade off a dot for a raider, you know. So that was another way that he ended up beating me, or that an orc has ended up beating me without using cookie cutter shit and saying it's all imbalanced mass dots deal. I don't know. I don't really use mass dots as often as I used to, and earlier in the season. That's about it. I think the mass raiders works a little bit better on bigger maps though. But that's for all you fucking orc players out there that just love to bitch on how imbalanced stealth is and whatever. So let's get this unpaused in 3, 2, 1. Unpause. 2 minutes and 7, 2 minutes and 8, 2 minutes and 9. Alright, so this is more of a funny game than an informative game right here. Just if you read the odds chat, obviously I'm love you. So I'm just saying some stupid shit right now. He's Blue Dragoon doesn't really play Elf or Death Scythe. I'm so used to calling him by his old B-net handle. Um, he was decided to go something dumb. So you guys get to hear me spam my lyrics to the songs, and you get to hear Death Scythe go ahead and piss off cookies. That's one thing. It's the damn internet, guys. It's not something to be taken seriously. It's not a maturity contest here. You don't have to, you don't have to be acting all serious thinking, oh, I'm so damn mature. It's alright every once in a while. I don't know, I'll admit it. Sometimes, well, first of all, sometimes I say bad manners are bad and everything, but in a sense, like, I don't know, if you're trying to offend the person, then it is, but if you're just doing it for the kicks, shits, and giggles, then it's pretty funny. So he's running his damn Keeper of the Grove around like dumbass. He's gonna go mass hunts. Just stay at tier 1. Mass hunts and archers for the win. Because we all know that's how imbalanced Elf is. So he's creeping out. The damn Cookies is creeping with the grunts while he's buying the boots and the boots and gauntlets, and XC Seek's over here like he's like, what the hell, WTF? He's like he must be like 13 or 14 years old, or he's just a fucking moron. And then so all the obs are like, what the hell? He's like playing like psychological mind games with Cookies. Then Axlab comes into this whole deal, and they're like, oh my god, like, what the hell? Like, yeah, like Axlab. And then I put up the tournament writer's face. They equal. Anyways, so Death Scythe starts moving down his wisps, starts spreading him out. Now, with the mass hunts and everything, like, timing is key with this strategy, though. What I mean, it's more of a main harass until you get to tier 2, and then you start creeping it up. Or until you have at least enough hunts to go creep with. So, Cookies is like, alright, time to set up some towers. Against hunts first, generally orcs do go war mill a little earlier. So there we go. He already has a grunt. He's taken out constructing tower. He's taken out a damn shop. And down goes another grunt. So there you go. There's 2 grunts already to mass hunts, keeper, entangle. There's absolutely. This point of the game, another way to realize when to pick out fights is, do I have any way of stopping my opponent from microing? As, for example, if you have a Keeper of the Grove in your army, and they have a raider or 2, you're going to want to entangle that raider, because that's going to stop you from microing because of the ensnare, and you're going to focus that, and then you're going to go ahead and then fight and carry on the regular battle. Or you'll just be able to entangle it while focusing other units, etc., etc. It really depends on the situation. And the same goes for, if you only have, like, say a 40 or 45 food army, and you're going the 4-unit combo against Orc with Hunts, Archers, Dots, Dryads, and they already have Raiders out. Usually if you're on a tavern map, you don't go the Keeper of the Grove second, you'll go a Summoning Hero or something of the sort, maybe a Naga second. And, and you see Raiders, and you just have a couple Dryads and Dots, and you're at like 40, 45 food, like I was saying. You don't want to fight that. The thing, when you're doing the 4-unit combo, you usually want to wait around 60 food. You want to play defensively until about 60, 65 food. Even though the strat isn't the 4-unit combo, the strat's pretty much the ownage too. One second. Alright, so Dragoon, or Death Scythe, goes ahead and sets up an expo. And then is going to go ahead and creep out that fountain, because he has the hunts to do so. And, all of a sudden he's massing tier 1 here. Cookies doesn't have sufficient army, really, to creep out anything as big as him, as big as that, so he doesn't have to really worry about getting creep jacked unless Cookies was going ahead and going to heal at that fountain. But, in fact, it's almost daytime anyway, so it's not likely he'd be doing that. And so, he's going to be knocking that down. Now he's starting to pump out archers, because you can pretty much assume that the orc is going to go wyverns. They're not going to go like, oh, damn it, where am I? Okay, sorry, I I put it in one of the players' views. I know